It's a bit chilly, not too windy. The sun feels really good. It's kind of nice to have time away from the city just to breathe in the fresh ocean air. I really wish I could sit on one of these chairs and film, but they're all wet. It must have rained overnight. I love the sound of the ocean. I usually go to sleep with soft ocean waves, and it's just calming. I definitely get overwhelmed with work, life, everything. And so once in a while, I'll pick a location and just get away from my own sanity to sort of recharge, reset. I feel like I never had anxiety per se until maybe 2-3 years ago. To be honest, I think that I've always had some level of depression, even as a child. I know it's pretty sad to think of it that way, but there was always this like cover of sadness over my life, and it would fluctuate. Things would be okay, but at the base level, things weren't, and they continue to not be okay. But I'm able to overcome it, and of course I'm quite functional because I have a good job. I was able to accomplish a lot of things, but in the last 2-3 years, somehow like anxiety creeped into my life, and I never thought that I was an anxious or nervous person, but I started having this kind of heavy feeling of being overwhelmed by things that didn't used to matter to me that much. And so I'm trying to figure out, along with my therapist, on basically how to not cure it, because unfortunately I don't think that that's possible, but at least get it under control so that I don't feel so overwhelmed, which I interpret as anxiety. So some of the ways I think that works for me in terms of trying to decrease that feeling of the world crashing down on me are actually really small things. And it really starts by not trying to take on too many things at once, even very simple tasks of trying to get the trash out to the recycling bin, not to like, for one, collect it so much before I go down there, but take it in pieces, because what happens is if I try to carry too much, or if I try to take the trash out and my backpack and everything on the way out on a morning where I feel like maybe I'm a little bit late, I inevitably end up dropping something, and that in itself can be a bit of a trigger of like a trigger for sadness, and the anxiety to elevate. So I've learned to basically not try to take on too many things, especially when it's not important, and just do things piecemeal. Still get stuff done, but just not trying to do like everything. And so that has certainly helped. I've also kind of used this approach in taking on too many projects, or I guess I'm just not a very good multitasker, but just to kind of slow down. None of the stuff I'm talking about is like super important, that it can't wait just a little bit longer. So I think that's been very, very helpful. As far as I can remember, once I became a doctor, I had never taken any sick days, like at all. I'm pretty healthy, so thank goodness. But even on the days where I was sick with like the flu or a sore throat or something, or GI troubles, I would still show up to work without failure. And the 2 days that I remember going home while I was work, it was because I was so sick and I was trying to stick it out that my colleagues were like, and my attendings, right, the surgeons that were teaching me back at the time, literally sent me home. They're like, I don't want you getting me sick, so just go home. And those were the only 2 times that I took some time off. And recently what I've recognized is that that's probably not very healthy. I know that our jobs are important and people do depend on us to treat them. But I think somehow physicians or surgeons do lose sight of themselves. And so I think that was a big thing this year, to finally recognize that, hey, I'm human, I'm not Superwoman. I need some breaks, and so I can't just call in sick because that would be pretty bad. People make plans for their surgeries or to travel, to come to the clinic and stuff like that, and so I certainly don't want to do that. And so my current approach is that I just plan time off, like sick leave type of time off, mostly for mental, emotional health, and just to kind of, like I said, recenter myself, reset myself, so that I'm ready for whatever comes next. The nice thing being fortunate is that not all the time, but sometimes I'm able to get away. I'm able to get away to places that I find calming, or new places I can explore. And so that's been kind of a positive change in my approach to dealing with emotions and mental health and depression. I know that anxiety and depression vary from person to person. What I do know is that in my community, the transgender community, especially now in today's political climate, it can be pretty hard to watch what's going on. All the transphobia, all the hate against my community, all these laws meant to oppress us. It does get to me. Now I try not to click on those articles anymore because it just makes me feel bad. I try to ignore it, even though I know it's out there. It's helped that I have good friends, good LGBT allies, and friends within the community that have been very supportive and very caring towards me, just as I am towards them. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I don't think I could do it without them. And of course, I have my family still, even though they are in a different state. But it's nice to talk to my daughters and hear what they're doing. They're both in college, and hear about their classes, about what's going on with their friends, things like that. So I really look forward to hearing from them, and I look forward to the next time I get to see them, which isn't as often as I'd like it to be. So maybe I need to change that as well. I'm not a mental health provider. I can barely take care of myself from that standpoint. So, if you're feeling down, all the time, you have anxiety, you have depression like I do, or you have other issues like anything, really. You've been through trauma, have PTSD, have problems at work, have problems with relationships, have problems with family, and you just can't seem to kind of turn things around in your favor, get help. I know that it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to go talk to a complete stranger, a professional, a mental health provider, and spill your guts out to them. And I have to admit that talking about this to professionals, like mental health professionals, until you find the right one, a lot of times you feel like they're not really listening. I mean, they are, but they're not. I don't know. So you kind of have to get to the right person that works with you and that you feel comfortable and you do feel like they are listening to your problems specifically and trying to customize a sort of approach or plan for you to get better. I know that this is not like the happiest subject. I'm sorry if any of this is kind of triggering to anybody. I didn't mean it that way. For as bad as I feel sometimes, I am lucky at least that I haven't fallen into like substance abuse or alcoholism or something like that. I'm not saying that I don't fall into things that I shouldn't be doing, but at least some of the things that could really destroy my life and my career and my family, I luckily haven't fallen prey to that. I feel like a lot of folks in our community, myself included, have gone through some hard times through transition and starting a new life. Takes a big toll, and so I feel like I could certainly be vulnerable to falling into some really bad things, such as like substance abuse or alcoholism or whatever, something that could easily destroy my career, destroy me as a person, destroy my family. Luckily, I've been able to steer clear of that. It doesn't mean that I'm a saint. I'm by no means a saint at all, but there are less extreme ways that I still need to work on. Point is, try to be good to yourself. It's not always easy for some people like myself, but I keep trying. I really do. I'm sorry if this video wasn't necessarily a happy one. It might even be triggering to some people, but please seek help. I'm going to wrap this up. There are resources out there to help people like us, and so please seek them out. I will list some resources down in the description if you feel like you need them. And with that, I bid you farewell. I need some coffee, so cups up, my queers. See you later.